Madam President-elect, Madam Rajavi, distinguished guests, wow, what a conference, what a day. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. It is such an honour to be with you on the eve of International Women's Day. And isn't it wonderful? You've described to us yet again, Madam Rajavi, and I found it truly shocking to hear once again the absolute brutality of the misogynistic dictatorship that our Iranian sisters are living under. It's a dictatorship that enforces discrimination and violence. Whenever a woman is killed or maimed or tortured, it wounds us all. This is a global issue, and it touches us all, and it calls us and the international community to do more than simply bear witness. And as the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration approaches, and world leaders will once again be refocusing on advancing women's rights, that discussion must start with Iran. It must start. It must start with recognising the brave women who are leading the fight there for democracy and equality. And let's not forget, they are led by the bravest Muslim woman who is fighting to advance women's rights in Iran every single day. And we know who that is. That is you, Madam Rajavi. And on behalf of all British women, we salute you. And we salute your 10-point plan, which paves the way for gender equality and for a free, democratic and secular Iran. Now, the theme of this year's Commission on the Status of Women, Accelerate Action, also demands action, and that action too must start in Iran. Because we have to be clear, the Iranian regime will never reform on its own. Why? Because it survives on repression, misogyny, looting, war, and terrorism. It is impossible to negotiate with a regime whose lifeblood is death and destruction. So what must be done, my friends? We must hold the regime accountable by referring its human rights dossier to the UN Security Council and continuing to call for the prosecution of its leaders. We must support our brave Iranian sisters, not just with words, but with concrete actions. We must recognise the NCRI and endorse Madam Rajavi's 10-point plan. We must prescribe the IRGC in its entirety once and for all. And we must support the Iranian people's right to resist dictatorship and defend themselves against the IRGC. Now, we have all heard today, loud and clear, the Iranian women have made their choice. They say no to compulsory hijab, they say no to compulsory religion, and they say no to compulsory government. It's time now for us to make our choice. Do we stand with them, or do we look the other way? Do we put our shoulder to the wheel and help them reclaim their country, or do we walk on by? Well, to the brave women of Iran, I say, we see you, we hear you, and we stand with you. I say, let this be the year when we turn words into action. Let this be the year when we stand shoulder to shoulder with our Iranian sisters, and let this be the year when we finally see a true, democratic, free Iran.